You should make David do the whole thing.
Yeah, do the whole thing.
We'll sit and watch.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to this podcast.
So far, so good.
Nailing it.
You're doing good. Just keep going.
Okay, welcome to this podcast where we talk about video games and other stuff. Yeah.
I'm Chris.
I'm Phil.
And I'm David. And welcome to... Everyone together.
This isn't fun
anymore. Woo!
In case you didn't know, David is our guest for this episode. Even stuck around to do the intro.
Can't get rid of him.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere.
He pretty much lives here.
Sleeping here tonight and tomorrow night.
Yeah, just live here. They got room.
Yep.
I think I've seen some open rooms.
Yeah. But yeah, so today we talked about David's gaming history. Like, he's our Nintendo expert.
Yep, it's resident Nintendo fanboy.
So we talk about Nintendo pretty exclusively.
Yeah.
Hope you're ready.
You guys, I hope you're ready for it.
Don't worry, there's flaws in there too. I'm not just going to geek out. It's fine. You can listen still.
That'll probably make them turn it off.
Yeah,
I'll say Wii U is the greatest console of all time.
and listen to the episode to find out why.
It's not. It's okay.
Just okay.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't supposed to give that away.
All right, guys, but we had fun in this episode, and hopefully David will come back again at some point.
I absolutely will.
Yeah. All right,
For
guys.
good reasons. There's going to be some interesting stuff I have to do.
Yeah, we gave him some homework.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Yeah, actually. It's good.
I kind of want some pizza now.
I know, we should do pizza. And just play video games.
Yeah, and then not record a podcast.
Right. Never mind.
Yeah.
Have you played Killer Queen before at the Logan arcade?
No. I am going to be playing with someone soon, though. He enters tournaments to play and stuff like that.
That's another thing too.
What?
There's tournaments and stuff, and I was like, Craig, I think we got a solid team here. You should sign us up.
Yeah.
So Craig's great.
Yeah.
I think if we got you two boys,
I haven't played it. Don't start roping me in
No.
on team mode.
trust.
I
me,
heard
you
like
got this.
it's easy to play, but like you have to try to like win, kind of like it's easy to pick up, but it's just the better people will.
Yeah.
It seems like the way it's set up just seems great because like arcades haven't. I mean, there's been nothing interesting with arcade games. Granted, I haven't been keeping up with arcade games, but like
Yeah.
There hasn't been new
Yeah.
ones.
there hasn't arcades. Like only in Japan did they have like arcades still. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, they're finally trying something different and new. Like that's cool. What I want, because I want them to start making arcade games again. I think that'd be great. I want to see big tabletops where like 8 people can play. Like I want like a sports game with like a tabletop LCD screen where you're looking over, like you have your own little joystick and buttons, and you're looking over the whole field or something like that. And
That'd be
you're playing
pretty
with 8 other
great.
people.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, it's some different game. It doesn't have to be a real game, but you know, you have your own goal and you're trying to score again, like mayhem on the screen. But
Have you guys seen? I think it's called "It Draws a Red Box." So it's a new game. They're actually going to release it for free, I believe.
sounds like Buffalo Bill's talking.
Yeah,
Draws
I know.
a red box, like it's the hose again.
I don't know where the name came from, but basically their idea was it's a sports game. It's like a 18-bit or an 8 or 16-bit sports game. It's all played on one screen, and basically they took to Twitter and they're like, okay, give us suggestions for what makes an awesome game, and they tried to put everything that everybody suggested in it. So it's like, oh, like zombies are great, or there should be cake, or just like you should be able to double jump, and they put as many of those crazy suggestions into the game. So it's like a weird, crazy sports game made up of rules based on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
it
like
looks,
Calvin Ball.
yeah,
Like, it's just
yeah.
kind of like rules or whatever.
But it looks like fun. It looks, it's crazy, and it's just supposed to be stupid fun, but it looks like it could be interesting. So yeah, look into it. It's called It Draws a Red Box.
That's cool.
So yeah, I guess
pound sign. I think
yeah,
it's
pound sign.
I think that's what the kids are saying now.
Yeah.
Pound sign.
They don't even know what that is though. I wonder why they think a hashtag is on a phone, like on a dial.
Yeah, right. How do you tweet with that?
All right. Well, welcome to the podcast. My name's Chris,
And I'm Phil.
and today we have a very special guest of David Wolff.
Hi.
What?
Great
start.
opening.
Where do you
Great
think
opening.
people would know you from, other than the?
I have worked on Pops since the beginning.
Yep.
And I will be seen on Pops at some point in the near future.
I don't know if that's a spoiler or not.
I don't think it is. I'm going to be acting in it. There from the beginning. Jake had a character for me that he said he wanted me to have.
Right.
and it took him a long time to write that character.
And if you look carefully in episode 6, I believe, there is a picture of you.
Yeah, that's kind of spoilerish, but they'll find it if they want to find it.
Well, if they see it, they won't know though how it spoils.
Yeah, they won't know
it.
how it's yeah. So unless I say it right now, that and the big art project I work on with also Craig Benzing, who was on the show a while ago, is The Good Stuff. Yep. And that I actually appear in every once in a while, but mostly do more editing and shooting and
behind the
creative
camera
content
stuff.
with that.
Yep.
So otherwise, I'm not really in front of the camera too much yet. So we'll
Yeah, that sounds very. It's coming.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Get ready for the storm.
Yeah, after your Pop's debut, who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna be calling me
all the time.
I got like 8 lines, maybe.
Yeah, they're all just like house lines too. They're all landlines.
Yeah.
Just hello. No.
I think he meant lines of dialogue.
I know he did. That's why I turned it.
Jokes.
I turned it into a joke. We need that's our joke sound effect. We gotta add that in there so people know to laugh. We should add a little studio audience laugh track. Hold for applause.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I'd probably be known from, possibly to your listeners.
Yep, and we actually have played a couple games in the past before. We played Battlefield 3 for a while. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we were when that first came out. We were filming Pops. When that first came out, and we'd wrap at midnight and be like, okay, like 10 minutes, 10 minutes, okay, and then we'd like run home, play Battlefield 3. Like it actually was great. I kind of felt like a kid again.
I know, yeah.
When we were doing that, I was like really excited, and it was just like, and because it's nice to play with someone who's like good. So it's just like, oh, we can accomplish things if we work together.
Exactly, yeah. Because we like to play like Conquest and things like that, where it wasn't 100% about killing. So it's like we did have to kind of coordinate what we were doing.
Right, and then when we like do a tank operation together, like that'd be fun. Yeah. So that's the most we've ever played together. I think that game we played a lot during those several months, and that was fun. That was good. Because I mean, on Xbox, when I played it online, I never wanted to talk to anyone else because I'm not a PC gamer. But I know how terrible the Xbox community is. Yeah. And that's the one time I do regret not being a PC gamer.
Yeah.
Is because if I'm online playing, I want to be playing with people. And you don't really feel that way sometimes on Xbox.
The PC community is not too much better. I think that's just online community in general.
Right, but I feel like it's easier to find those people probably on the PC community and find your little groups that are
there's probably more ways to set up like to meet and talk to people with PC games than Xbox Live. But
yeah, that's our gaming history together, really. Yeah, so not too extensive.
Yeah, but we wanted you to be our expert witness to be cross-examined about Nintendo because we know you're kind of in our group. You're kind of the Nintendo guy.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a Nintendo fanboy, but I will be very happy to be critical of them when they need to be critical of. I'm not jaded in any sense by.
No, you're not blind to their faults.
No.
So.
Just holding up like a picture of Miyamoto.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, if I ever, met him or anything like that, I probably would freak out. But I think most people would.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing to do. So.
But no, I cannot say that I'm not a fanboy. I'd be lying if I said otherwise.
Yeah, but that's why we wanted you on the show.
Yeah,
so.
and I'm happy to be here for that reason.
As usual, as we have with our guests, why don't you go through your gaming history?
It's interesting because I just listened to Craig's podcast when he was on here, and it's very similar in structure for gaming history. So one of my earliest memories from ever, not just from video games, from childhood, was when my brother got the NES system, and he got Legend of Zelda, and we put that up in our living room, and they turned it on, and there's the great opening credits music. I mean, just classic. And I started dancing to it. Like, the game came out, I want to say, 87? No, 89. I think it was 89 or something like that. Can't remember when it came out. But,
late 80s.
It was, late 80s. And it was, it was new, and I was really young. At most, I'd be 4 or 3, and I remember everyone was laughing because I was just dancing to the music.
Yeah.
And, if you're a kid, people are laughing, you just keep doing it.
Right.
Like, that's one of my earliest memories. And much like Craig, that was my first big introduction to video games was Legend of Zelda, and I played that all the time. And we owned the NES for a good amount of years and had a good amount of games. And then all of a sudden, Sega commercials come on, and Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Yeah,
was the big slogan.
Nice.
And my brother's like, "Hey, if we sell our Nintendo and all our games, we can get money to get a Sega Genesis." And I was like, "That's a great idea."
What could possibly go wrong?
It's a terrible idea. This is such a terrible. We went to Funko Games or whatever.
Funko Land.
Funko Land. Yeah, whatever the company was back then. Got a Sega Genesis. The first games we bought were Sonic 1 and X-Men, the X-Men game, which was a pretty decent game.
Yeah,
interesting levels and stuff like that. And we had that for, God, I want to say 4 or 5 years. And we had a good amount of Sega games, and there were some great games on that system. But I found myself being less and less interested in games during Sega Genesis time. And
there's a lot of the same on that console.
Yeah, a lot of the same.
Side-scrolling beat-em-ups.
And you know what the big problem was? No saving.
Oh, yeah.
No saving feature.
The old arcade style.
Yeah, considering I love Legend of Zelda, all of a sudden there wasn't a game on Sega where I had this big, grand adventure in front of me. So all the games were, like I said, side-scrolling beat-em-ups and stuff like that. And I really wish we had gotten a Super Nintendo because that would have been better. So when the N64 came out, I got that system. Not right away, but I did buy it. And I remember when I bought it, I was like, I even told myself, I was like, you know, it's probably like the last game console I ever buy.
Yeah.
Like I kind of felt like I wasn't super into video games anymore. And then like, you know, Mario came out, Mario 64. That was pretty special.
Yeah.
And then for me, I guess my bigger moment in gaming history, because I was still at that point a Legend of Zelda fan. I had Link's Awakening on Game Boy, but I was never a big handheld guy. But I really liked that game, and still a big fan. And then when Ocarina of Time came out, and the first time you see Hyrule Field, it was like, no, like that's
it's over.
Yeah, it's over. This I'm just gonna be playing video games for the rest of my life. Like at that point, when I saw just how amazing and huge that was, that feeling was just incredible. And yeah, that's kind of the history of the video games for me. I think, you know, with N64, that's when it all changed to something much more than just like fun. It was kind of more serious at that point. And yeah.
Now you're a professional. You're a professional.
Totally. Yeah, I decided to take it pro.
Yeah, you do a lot of Smash Brothers tournaments and stuff like that.
Oh, God. There was one time like where I thought I could be good enough at Melee, and then I was like, do I really want to devote that much time to playing Melee?
Yeah. And
like now I watch videos of people playing Melee at tournaments. I'm like, oh, I could not compete with those people.
Right. Maybe the first tournament that ever existed.
Yeah, the first tournament ever existed. Yeah, but now it's like, oh no. So yeah, I guess that's my basic history. And since then, again, I haven't missed a Nintendo console since then. I did play PC growing up. Monkey Island 2 was my favorite PC game growing up. I still own the original box, the wheel, the code wheel, and everything like that. I have it in like mint condition still.
Yeah,
and
nice.
Every year it raises in value. And
yeah, it's
stuff
true.
like
You're also a collector of vintage games. You have a lot of NES games. Yeah.
A lot of NES games. I think I have like 55 unique titles right now. I have some doubles and stuff like that. And that's just going to keep growing. And
probably not Duck Hunt though. That's hard.
Yeah, that's a hard one to find. I think I have 4. I'm not even kidding, because a lot of people, a lot of games,
I have 4 guns.
Yeah, right. A lot of games I just get because people are like, I don't want these anymore. I'm like, I will take care of them.
Yeah.
But I can't be a true collector because I play them. Like, I'm probably not supposed to do that.
I feel, especially with video games, like, who collects them just to stare at them? That's the problem.
Well, it depends. Like, if you're buying something mint in box, obviously you can't touch it.
Oh, I have really good ones in boxes, too. The best one I own is Castlevania 3 in its original box, even with the advertisement to win a trip to Transylvania.
Nice.
And it's still. And it's all in perfect condition, and I've definitely played it a few times.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to play it.
Well, I mean, in theory, that's really why you should collect things, is because you enjoy them and get to actually
experience them. Yeah.
But it's one thing if you're collecting, like, action figures. Yeah. You can display them, and you get to an age where you can't play with them anymore without looking like a weirdo.
Right. Yeah, just bending their joints isn't that much fun anyway.
So, like, with a video game, like, you're gonna get you can just be like, yeah, I'm really happy I got Link up there. That's a good game. I don't know. I've never played it. That box is pretty pretty.
So collect old, mostly NES. I do collect some Sega, just because of childhood memories. But it's still just like, it's not a disappointing system, but it just wasn't the right one for me, I think, at the time.
Yeah, especially in retrospect.
Like, looking at the Super Nintendo was just so great.
Have you gone back and gotten a Super Nintendo?
I have a Super Nintendo now. I need to clean it up, and I'm gonna start trying it out. Because I just don't know really where to start with it. Obviously, A Link to the Past I'm gonna play, but I've played it online on ROMs before. Yeah. And Super Metroid I've never played, which I've only heard great things from and everything. But I think I'll give it a whirl and see how it goes.
I was a fan of the Donkey Kong games on the.
Oh yeah, sure. Those were classics for that system, and I played them at friends' house and stuff like that. But I've been slower to collect those just because I don't have that childhood attachment
Yeah, because you missed that.
I'll be curious. You'll need to come back and give me a report, because without having that nostalgia kick, I wonder how those games hold up for like a first time view through.
That's actually interesting, because I don't know, and I don't really know like what other games to buy. I'm gonna kind of go online and see what people say to buy and stuff. And I've played my fair share amount, but will I actually play them to completion? Will I care enough to?
Yeah,
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, like when you put in Super Metroid, like obviously you've heard a lot about it. You know, you're just like, but now not having that like trigger to immediately go, oh my god, I remember being 12 and playing this or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Now you're just like, this game's kind of shitty.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's my history for video games.
And like you said, more recently, you do have all the Nintendo consoles. So you got the Wii.
Yeah, I got. I was studying abroad when it came out, and I mailed my buddy a check.
Oh really?
Yeah, I was like, I need this.
Get this. Yeah.
And he did it for me. He was a great guy to do that for me. So it was awesome when I came home, because all of a sudden there was like a new Nintendo console waiting for me there, and like that was like Christmas morning for me right there. Yeah, that was pretty great. And I have a Wii U. Too.
For the original Wii, do you think? I mean, obviously there was big novelty with that, with the motion controllers, and like I feel like a lot of people bought that because one, it was Nintendo, and because it was innovative. Yeah. Do you ever feel like it reached its potential though, as far as the?
No, and it would have reached its potential if it had started off with the Wii Motion Plus controller, the better controller that came out several years later. Yeah. If it started with that controller, I think it would have been even bigger. I mean, because it was a big console. Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, it was a huge console. It
you couldn't find it anywhere.
It
came
petered
out
off
first, right?
What do you mean came out first?
Of that generation, I believe.
Yeah, it did.
No, 360 came out.
360 came out first.
360 came out a year before it did.
I know it came out a year before the PS3.
PS3 and Wii U Wii released at the same time.
Okay,
because that was kind of like the big battle. Because like PS3 was like this hardware super giant, and Wii was like, hey.
We're fun. I'm the Wii.
But if the Wii had started off with the Wii Motion Plus controller, I think it would have been an even bigger success, because the original Wii controller really had a lot of limitations. Yeah. The Wii Sports it was packaged with was great. Like that was a perfect use of the controller, and you never felt limited. But I also got Twilight Princess, because that released with the Wii too, and that just didn't feel great. Yeah. Like it felt slow and not totally responsive.
Well, wasn't it developed for the?
It was developed for the GameCube.
Yeah, and then they just ported it. And that's why it didn't really feel correct.
It didn't feel right. It didn't feel great. And even I knew that when I was playing it. I had liked playing Wii Sports more, actually. And then the other controller came out, but that was already at the point where people were kind of losing interest in the Wii. Yeah. And that other controller, I think, is great. And that really feels awesome. And to compare Twilight Princess to Skyward Sword, I think the combat in Skyward Sword is phenomenal, because that uses the new controller, and that just feels really good. But at that point, I think a lot of people didn't care anymore, and they kind of lost
they already jumped off the ship.
Yeah, they already did. And I think I don't think it ever reaches true potential. I don't know what its true potential was necessarily, but I think it could have gone farther places if they were just a little bit ahead of themselves than they were.
What was your favorite game of that generation?
Of the Wii?
Yeah.
I think the one that brought me the most enjoyment was the game that was packaged with the Wii Motion Plus controller, the Sports 2, Wii Sports 2. Because there were just really fun games on that were just so great to play, and there was like dueling that you could do, like one-on-one duels, and that was just really awesome. And I'll think about that. I'll come back to that question later in the show, because I'm trying to picture my collection.
Yeah, I will agree with you though that the games that came with it, the sort of tech demos of how the motion controller should work, were always the best. But then it also means they kind of failed if the best game is the game that is bundled for free.
Right, exactly.
And I feel like because it's Nintendo, because they have all these great first-party games, it's weird that they didn't implement them better in their other lineup.
Yeah,
it's not like third-party developers weren't developing for it, which they weren't, which is another problem. Yeah. But they themselves, I feel like, weren't really doing it. I mean, how do you play like a Mario game with a Wii controller?
Well, Galaxy was a good game, though. Mario Galaxy was.
No, it was, but it was you just you use it as a controller. You don't use it as like you were sometimes.
Yeah,
right,
sometimes you're using it as a pointer, but it wasn't. Yeah, you didn't need to.
Yeah.
Like when I bought the Smash Brothers Brawl for the Wii, I was using a GameCube controller. I wasn't going to use a Wii controller for that at all.
Yeah, of course.
That just didn't feel.
Yeah,
right.
that's always the hot ticket item is the controller ports for the previous controllers, like especially the GameCube controller. Like it's always the hardest thing to get.
Yeah. So no, it was. I don't think they made a mistake in releasing the Wii. I think I think it pushed things in a good direction almost for video games. Just to, I know a lot of gamers hate the casual audience and stuff like that, but there's nothing wrong with making games more accessible to people.
I think the Wii was essentially like made the Kinect and the PlayStation Eye because like all of a sudden they saw like motion controls are a thing, so it just like
right.
And then now, whether or not that's a good or bad thing, a lot of people debate right now because
I don't know if either of those things were successful. The things that followed it.
No, they fizzled out faster than the Wii fizzled out.
Yeah, but I do feel like motion controls will always be a part of gaming now, and I think if it's focused on right, it could be better and better.
Yeah, well, because you think like everyone always wants the virtual reality, and that was the closest thing that we could get. Like first, it was just like I'm swinging a tennis racket, and then the Kinect comes around, and you're like I'm moving my arms, and, and so it's great. It's always that like progress of technology, and the Wii kind of kicked it off. The problem is just like with Microsoft and Sony, is that nobody just wanted to develop those games, so then it just died off from not having software. While Nintendo was more like, okay, we're still pumping out games for it. It's just maybe not at a quick enough rate,
right? Or quality enough.
Also, I think with Nintendo recently, it's like they have kind of lagged behind on their launch titles. Like they haven't had the Marios or the Zeldas or any of that stuff come out as the game launch, as the system launched, which is, I think, super important for Nintendo.
It is. Well, they did release a Mario game with the Wii U launch.
Yeah.
But it was a 2D Mario game that really did not use the Wii U gamepad at all for any advantage. So it didn't seem necessary to do that. The 3DS launch was a terrible launch. I bought Street Fighter 4 for that. Yeah. I'm not a huge fighting game fan, but nothing else was like launched with it that was interesting to me. So
except for like the augmented reality like demos and stuff.
Again, the tech demos were great.
The free tech demos.
Yeah, the tech demos were great. So I don't know how they kind of screwed up the Wii U launch again with content, because it was like they should have known from the 3DS that they need to have a really good game to package with it or to get people to buy it, which they really didn't. Although I will say I didn't buy the zombie game, Zombie U, that came out, but I played the demo and that was actually kind of fun. I kind of liked the demo. I might pick up that game at like a cheaper cost because it was pretty intense, because like your inventory is on the screen, so you have to do things. You don't get to pause to go through your inventory.
It's all real time.
And I was kind of like, oh, this was kind of cool. I wish I bought that. Like, it got really average reviews and stuff, but I might go back to that when it's super cheap somewhere, because it seemed kind of interesting. But, yeah, bad launch.
Yeah, it's another thing, too. It's like they've complained about that for all the motion control games. It's like it's only casual games. There's no hardcore game that's been developed for any of the motion controllers. And that's why they say they're not successful. I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Well, that's the argument that they make, is just that obviously, like, your grandma's buying these casual games to play, as opposed to like the hardcore gamers who sit down and have Funyuns and their face is bloated and they don't get off the couch. Like you always want that gamer. But I disagree in terms of that. I feel like I'm a hardcore gamer and I still had a lot of fun with the Kinect and the Wii.
Yeah, I mean, we both talked about we were both fans of the Kinect, and I know you have a Kinect as well for the Xbox. But I don't think I want to play a hardcore game with the Kinect. Like, I don't want to play a shooter with the Kinect. That wouldn't be fun. Like, I want to use the controller for that.
Yeah.
I'll play a basketball game with the Kinect.
Yeah.
Give me a 2K16.
Well, no. Well, you got the Kinect Sports 2 has basketball.
Yeah.
So.
No, kind of.
Kind of.
Well, I mean, because you can't physically move, it's just passing and shooting, right? It's kind of like the soccer game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I had such high hopes, but then the Kinect's just not capable. That's the thing.
So is the Kinect 2? I haven't used it. Is it?
He's the Kinect 2 guy.
The next, like 2.0, that one. Yeah, it's so much better. It really is so much better, but there's almost no games for it at all. So you really don't get to. So there's the Kinect Sports game,
right?
And there's the Dance Central game, which is great, and then there's the Fantasia game, but that doesn't really use it as much. But it's cool to just go into the settings and move everything around, and you can see how well it can actually track you.
Yeah.
So one of the problems before with the original Kinect was it like sort of imposed a skeleton on top of you, right?
Yeah.
So you had your joints, you had your arms and your legs, but it didn't balance it correctly. like it would always lose your feet or like if you were on one foot and stuff, it would technically break the skeleton, they would say, so they wouldn't, it wouldn't track you for that moment, or there'd be like jumps and stuff.
Yeah.
But now, not only does it know body weight better and stuff, it also it maps the floor. It knows exactly where the floor is, so it knows where things are and how to balance things, and you can actually adjust the floor separately.
Yeah.
Plus, it now has like an infrared camera, so you can play in complete darkness and stuff.
Okay.
The whole lighting issue of before, like you gotta make sure it's well lit and there's all the space. Yeah, it's got a better lens, so you can play like 5 feet away or even closer, and you can play in complete darkness. So all those other little issues are not there. So I've only played it for a handful of games, but it's noticeably different.
Yeah, the Kinect that I have, I only have it for Dance Central. I mean, I have a couple other games, but I don't really play them. But I don't use it during the menu screen stuff. It's so frustrating doing the menu screen stuff.
The swiping and all that.
It's like, just give me the controller. And like, it does fine for doing the dance moves, but you're right. The 1 foot thing is always kind of tricky. Like, I feel like it has problems below the belt, kind of.
Yeah.
Tracking everything.
But they fixed a lot of those problems, and then nobody's using them in their games, so it doesn't really matter.
Right, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Another game that you said you were interested in while we were on the set of Pops was Bayonetta 2. He played the first game, and he reviewed it for his gaming channel. Yeah. And you said you thought the demo was pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I'm not a huge, and that's the thing, I'm not a huge, like, straight-up action game guy. I find them to kind of be one-dimensional sometimes and not very interesting. But I played the demo for that because all of a sudden, like, I mean, I was kind of interested when Nintendo was saying, like, they were releasing it only.
They got an exclusive, right?
Yeah, I was like, that's kind of interesting. Like, let's see what this is about. And then, like, all the reviews were coming in and
you got a perfect score at a couple places.
Yeah, and I played the demo, and it was just like madness, but it was really fun. Again, not making use of the gamepad controller, I don't think in any way.
Yeah.
Except for like special moves, but we can talk about the gamepad controller later. But I am kind of interested in that because it looked really great. It was running really smoothly, and the demo was just a lot of fun. And I wish I could like see better to understand everything that's happening on screen at once because there's like a lot going on. But it's pretty awesome. And again, if the reviews are saying how great it is, I'm curious.
Yeah. Also, I forgot we played at Craig's place right after the Wii U came out. We all played together. We were there for the good stuff.
Yes.
And then we sat down and we were playing like Super Mario U, or we played there's another like game demo thing.
Again, the game demo packaged with the Wii U is still the best thing that they have, and that game demo I think is incredibly dense. Like I can almost recommend buying the Wii U just for that demo that's packaged with Nintendo Land is what it's called.
Yeah.
It's got like 10 games in it. And some of them are like almost games in themselves. Like they're not as deep, but there's levels to play. And we played like this little Metroid game where you could be flying around in a ship and other people are on the ground and you're shooting at each other. There's a great little Zelda on rails game that's on there. Like that demo is fantastic. And the tag. Let's see, there's a tag game that's really fun.
Is that like the hide and seek sort of one where there's one guy gets to see? Yeah, that one was we had the most fun with that. I feel like.
Yeah, that and there's a Luigi's Mansion thing too. Again, where you're a ghost and you can see everyone and they can't see you. Yeah. But that demo, I would almost recommend buying the system just for that demo because that's really fun, especially if you have a group of people to play with it. Yeah,
the tag and the Luigi's Mansion we played a lot, and that was fun because it was like 1 versus 4 or something.
Yeah, well, that's the cool thing about the gamepad is you have your own screen, so whoever's got the gamepad can have a view of everyone while they don't know where he's at. So I think that's where some of the hopefully future with the game. The console can go. Yeah, but I feel like that game, like most games, are more fun with more people, and the Wii U especially, you kind of all have to be in the same room to play that, especially the ones where it's like 4v1, and it's like, I feel like that culture has kind of disappeared, of all being in the same room and not playing online, and... Maybe that's why, like, I still buy Nintendo consoles, is because I like that culture so much still. Not saying that you guys don't, but we do. We just feel like we can't do it with our games. You can't do it, and you guys actually taled about that in the last podcast, and that's why I've really enjoyed playing that demo with people, is because it's just so much fun. That's why, I bought the new Smash Brothers. I haven't had a chance to play with people yet, but I'm excited for it, especially because they have 8 people can potentially play now. It's just like... That sounds amazing, but I mean, again, that's what we grew up on, playing with everyone crammed on a couch, yelling obscenities at each other. While those are the days that I miss. I wish I could just like, I used to live like 2 doors down from my best buddy throughout like middle school. So just be like, get home from school,
just walk to my place. We'll just play video games all day, and then you can walk home, and it's no problem. Like now, you can't do that.
That's why,
like for us to get together, it's just like, all right, what day are you free? I can't do that.
I know it's so hard to just
I'm only good from like 6 to 7, and so I got to drive over, and it's like, well, fucking forget it. We'll just play online. And then,
even that's hard though. We can't even schedule online. Like we can't even play once a week anymore. Like it's hard. I feel like college is the sweet spot for like gaming. It's like perfect, like depending on what's out, but like you're around other guys that probably just want to play video games. Your schedule is not 9 to 5.
Yeah,
you don't usually
and you'd rather
have to
not
worry
be doing
about
homework.
Exactly,
like that,
and you don't. Yeah, they like you have a lot of off time. So
played a lot of Double Dash in college.
Nice.
A lot of Mario Kart Double Dash.
Yeah, we did N64 Mario Kart a lot in college, even though that was not the newest thing.
No,
I also played a lot of Halo 2 and stuff, which was newer. But
but no, the demo demo for Wii U, fantastic. I don't know if you've played it.
I have not.
I should actually
thinking about getting a Wii U myself.
Maybe I'll bring it if I'm ever on again. If I'm invited back, after what I did in the other room you didn't see. If I'm invited back, I'll bring it next time, and you could demo it beforehand because that's worth it. I don't know if you want to go more into Wii U, but I don't have a lot of games for it. Right
well, I mean, here's the thing. Phil said that he is maybe interested in one, but because we have a Twitter challenge that if we get a certain amount of followers, that he's going to have to buy a new generation console.
Yeah.
And right now he's kind of leaning towards the Wii U. But let's say he's not. Let's say you're just a casual video game guy or just maybe a hardcore guy.
Yeah.
Try to sell me on buying a Wii U over another console. Why do you think? What are its merits?
Honestly, and again, fanboy, but not. I can be critical.
Yeah.
It would be hard to sell it over other current consoles right now, at least. Some of the good merits of it that I have loved from the start is, I think, and just to compare it to the other two, Microsoft and Sony, Nintendo has a way better color palette that they use for the games.
Yes.
Oh, way better. And I was
actually green.
Not browns and grays.
Yeah. I never really cared about HD graphics. That's why I was always fine with a Wii. I didn't really care. Even this time, I was like, oh, the Wii U's HD. Okay, cool, whatever. And then when I plugged it in, it was like, whoa! Like, colors, brightness, and reds, and yellows, and blues. And it looked like nothing I had seen yet because our consoles are just, like I said, grays and browns.
It's everything is.
So, the Mario Kart on Wii U, Rainbow Road, it's just gonna blow your mind away. Like, it's just nuts. It's kind of like it almost takes you back to what you thought it looked like on N64.
Yeah.
But now it actually looks like what you thought it looked like on N64 because it's
great
just
point.
and like it runs really smoothly, and that game alone has been a blast for me. Just because of the way it looks and the way it handles and everything like that. But beyond first party stuff, which I can sell you on, there's not a lot of third party support for it, and that's a problem. I think the first party stuff is going to be phenomenal, and I do think, like, I was always kind of hoping with the Wii, as the console went on, developers would learn how to work it more and how to make fun games, which we were saying they never really did. Kind of died off. Kind of hoping it again for this console using the gamepad. And I think they might be able to if they understand that, inventory on the fly or making controls on the gamepad. Like, I think I was telling you when it first came out, I was like, I just want like a mech game.
Yeah.
Where, you have to type in something really quickly, like load up missiles and stuff like on the gamepad. Like that.
Big eject button on there, you just slap.
Right, yeah. Like, that would be so great.
Yeah.
So I think
people slapping the controls.
No, they're not slap. But I think with them using the Wii controllers, which I do actually think was kind of smart and interesting, plus the gamepad, I do think there is more potential for the Wii U down the line than there was with the Wii. I think the HD graphics are going to help a lot, and they're finally starting to be a little bit more understanding of how internet gaming.
Yeah, they're so far behind on that.
I don't get that, and that's my biggest criticism. I don't know who's like sitting in a closet with their fingers in their ears, going like, "I don't care, I'm not listening."
Yeah.
It's like, whose decision is this? It's getting a little bit better, but it's still not as easy as, well, I don't own a PlayStation, but as a 360 to meet a friend.
Yeah.
Friend request
Well, yeah, I think everybody agrees that whether or not you enjoy the console, that the Xbox Live does do the social features a lot better than the PlayStation does.
It's super quick. I mean, obviously, you add somebody to your friends list, you can see if they're online, and it's really just like click once to be like, you want to be in a party? You want to join my game?
Yeah,
it's all.
I guess, Phil, for my way to sell it to you, if you want that like feeling of childhood fun,
which is the best way to sell it,
which is exactly what I want.
If you want that, the Wii U is perfect for that, because there is just so much fun to be had when you have people playing with you, and it offers a lot in that realm right now. Even if it's, again, just Mario Kart, but who doesn't want to play Mario Kart HD? Like, that's just great. But I think that's its strongest case right now, and I don't think they've released a Mario Party yet, but I'm sure when they do.
No, oh my god!
I'm sure when they do,
buy it just for that too.
I'm sure when they do, like, they'll know what they're doing for those games and how to make them incredible. But the time I've played with people around me has been some of the best fun I've had playing video games in a long time.
So you should either get more friends or have kids so you can play these things.
Not gonna rush into the kids, and we'll see about the friends. Yeah. But I will say the first thing I did when I got my new computer and I got my keyboard and mouse so I can go into desktop mode is get a Nintendo 64 emulator and start getting like Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
And so I just go back and like, I'm having fun again. And plus I wanted to go back, like you were saying, like how the Wii U has more potential now than the Wii. And I think that what's great about that is like the Wii U is now hitting its stride, where all of a sudden now we're starting to see a bunch of great games come out for it.
Yeah.
As opposed to like the Wii, where I feel like it hit its stride early and then topped off. Like now it seems like at least it's like Wii U didn't come out too strong out of the gate, but now you got your Donkey Kong, you got, you know, they keep teasing your new Zelda game. You got
I could talk about that for a while too.
Yeah, you got your Mario Kart, you got your Smash Brothers. Like now all of a sudden it's just like, hey, remember Nintendo? We fucking kick ass at making first party games, as opposed to just like.
I think it's kind of, and I'm hoping too. I think it's following the 3DS track, because when the 3DS launched, they lowered the price like within a few months. They lowered the price because it was such a terrible launch. But now the 3DS, I mean, it's just blowing the PSP out of the water. Like it's just a complete success.
That's the only
they've dominated the handheld for sure.
But that being said, like they also did it because they started releasing better games and just understanding what people wanted better. So I'm kind of hoping they could look at that as a model and see what do we need to do. Although again, obviously the first party games are going to be great. They do need better third party games to come in. Now Bayonetta 2, I don't know how its sales have been, but that'll at least help maybe get some people interested. Yeah. But the first party games are going to be great. I could talk about Zelda for a whole other podcast, so I don't even know how to go on that right now. But like, I mean, they're going to do a Star Fox game, which they haven't done in forever.
Nice.
That might be the game I kind of want with some cool controls.
Yeah.
You know, like your eject button or your missile button or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they haven't announced the Metroid game, but I feel like they could do some interesting things too with the gamepad and Samus and
you
stuff
figure
like that.
It'd be hard for them to screw up some of those.
Oh, they never would. They never would. But I just want to see. I want to see them do some innovations with their first-party games to hopefully get other third parties to be like, oh, cool, yeah, like that works. How do we change that?
Yeah, I think there's just a problem in the industry right now where there's like no third-party exclusives in general. That kind of idea has kind of died off. Any of the exclusives are just timed exclusives anyways.
Yeah.
Because the budgets are so big now for games, they can't afford to just release on one console. So it's like, okay, they develop for all three consoles at the same time, or two in this case, and then release them on both.
That's a really good point, actually, because they can't, to make a third-party game that can release on Xbox One and PS4. I mean, I don't know how difficult that is, but at least there's similar hardware capabilities.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the Wii U isn't caught up to those.
Yeah, it's like its own game that you have to make just for
with
the
Wii too.
Yeah.
So you're right. That might be part of the problem with third parties. Like, well, do we really want to put the effort into changing everything almost to get this game out?
Right. Especially when they don't have the install base that the other two does. It's like, why spend the extra money and then sell it to less people?
That's true. Though I heard the Deus Ex game that came out for the Wii U, the Wii U version was really good.
It was better, yeah.
Yeah, it was better than the Xbox version, which came out first, and you know, better than the PC version, which is essentially like tried to come back and copy the Wii U version.
Which is great. If they do more of that, then great. Yeah. But all I think of is examples like the Ghostbusters game. So I don't know if you saw the Wii version of that, but like the normal Ghostbusters game was like kind of, you know, kind of photorealistic, kind of normal.
Yeah,
and then the Wii version was all cartoony and like the controls were different.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Did not work.
It wasn't. I remember seeing videos of that and being like, well, that makes me feel sad for being a Wii owner.
Yeah.
Like, that makes me feel less about myself.
That's how they see you.
Yeah, they did actually. Yeah. They did, but you should get a Wii U. I'll bring it next time if I'm on again. I'll bring it and you can try it.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested in playing the Tropical Freeze, the Donkey Kong game.
That I played a demo of that. That was really great.
Is it good?
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, if they get enough first-party games, because the selling point for me is the nostalgia and the fact that their first-party games are great. If they come out with enough of their first-party games, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because you can't get that anywhere else. Like you were saying about, like, even with your PC, you don't want to buy PC games that you could buy on the Xbox or the PlayStation. You'd rather have them on consoles. But if the Nintendo just comes out with first-party games that you can't get anywhere else, like, that's awesome. If they can come out with, like, a dozen great first-party games, then that's enough to buy the console, I think.
I think this year, 2015 going ahead is going to be a big year for the Wii U.
Yeah.
I think Smash Brothers is doing well. The Amiibo thing is working.
Yeah,
that certainly makes money.
Yeah, that makes money.
That prints money.
I don't really get it yet. I'm going to buy one. I am going to buy a Sheik.
I think you're
for Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I think you're outside of the
totally
demographic
am outside the demographic for that. But like, I'm just gonna see what it is all about. But I think 2015, will be an interesting year for them because I think they're going to be releasing some games, and I think hopefully some more interesting stuff will get announced.
Yeah,
going forward.
I mean, I'll just say from like the most recent E3 that I watched, like. I didn't even have a Wii U, but watching the Nintendo, like, all of their demos, I'm just like, wait, that game's coming out? Yeah. Obviously, like you said, like,
Zelda.
just the
Zelda
tease of Zelda where immediately, like, expectations are huge on that game.
Yeah, for good reason.
And I have a feeling that it'll deliver because I think that they're taking the time for it. But that'll be amazing. Like, just so many games where I just immediately thought, like, that's my childhood in a game. Like, Yoshi's a Yarn or whatever that is, like that's coming out,
even,
and like the Toad game where you're essentially Toad as Indiana Jones. I'm just like, I want all these stupid games.
Yeah,
I heard that game's good too.
Yeah, I heard that game was really good as a puzzle adventure game.
Yeah,
it looked pretty interesting, and I think it'd probably make good use of the gamepad too. Actually,
yeah. So. Do you think part of the failure, or like the problem with Nintendo now, is that they pander to their audience too much? Because we've talked about it before, but like the Nintendo audience, like they're like, don't change anything, don't ever change anything, so they're never allowed to really innovate because they want to make sure the fan base is happy. But the problem with that is, I feel like the fan base is like us. Like the people that are buying these games are the people that bought the games in the 80s and 90s. It's because they're like, oh, this is the same game I played as a kid. I want to recreate that thing. Therefore, they're not getting the newer fan base. They're not getting the kids that are playing their Call of Duties or their whatever. Yeah. So it's like the reason the sales are going down, it's because we're getting older and less of us are buying games or playing games now that we have families and stuff. So it's like, I feel like the fan base is the same fan base that existed 20 years ago, and now just less of us are buying Nintendos.
Yeah, I think, well, that is a dilemma. What to change and what not to change.
Yeah.
Ever. And you and I talked about this briefly, and I know Craig was complaining about Legend of Zelda games because he feels like they're all the same, kind of. And while they do follow a pretty general guideline format of how things work, I think the best Zelda games are the ones that have broken away from that in some way. I do think Ocarina of Time is kind of the pinnacle of Zelda games, and I think it'll always kind of be considered that.
Yeah.
But then you look at something like Majora's Mask, which has this amazing 3-day cycle and only 4 dungeons in that game, compared to the usual 8 to 9. And then Wind Waker, you're in a boat, and there's this giant ocean that you have to travel across.
Yeah, and it's all cel-shaded, and like they changed a lot for that.
They changed a lot for that. And I think those two games were great follow-ups. And then Twilight Princess was fun, but it just kind of seemed like better graphic Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
I've only played it once, which is weird for a Zelda game for me, is only playing it once. Like, there were some enjoyable moments, but I was just like, kind of played before. Skyward Sword was, some new elements. You were flying and stuff, which was cool, but the overworld was kind of boring. Wasn't that great, but the combat was good. So I do feel like Legend of Zelda, to just go off of one series specifically, when it does change things, it changes things in the right way. Not too drastically or anything like that, but just enough to keep to make the good games really good.
Right. And, yeah, I think we all agree. It's when they innovate is when we like it, and it's more fun to play. But I feel like they're afraid to do that sometimes, and the fan base jumps on them as soon as they show anything that's different before they get to play the game. Therefore, they kind of react to that too much.
Well, that happened with Wind Waker when they all said it was cell shaded. It was like booze.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like he looked like a kid, and like yeah.
And interesting when they did it right though, and I don't. This was tricky, to pull off and to try to do it again. Was Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
And you go from a game. The last Metroid release was Super Metroid, and that was an amazing experience for most people. All of a sudden, you're going to a first-person mode, and people were mad about that. And now, I think Metroid Prime would rank in my top 10 games I've ever played before. So there's times where they do it, but it is a big risk, and I think, you can't change much as a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
You really can't. People want what they want, but you can make the experience different. And I think that the Zelda Wii U specifically will make the experience different enough where people are really going to be attracted to that game, more so than I think in a long time for any Zelda game, just from what I've briefly looked at. So
do you want to talk about that game with the conversation we had on Pops about seeing the screenshot of Zelda from years ago?
Well, yeah. So a lot of people, I saw this posted up on Reddit a lot too, but I remember seeing this the first time I saw that E3 trailer. I remember when I was first playing the Zelda for NES, in the booklet that came with it, there's a shot of Link on a cliff looking over a big valley with a river and a mountain in the background. And that hand-drawn image just blew me away. Like, that's what I thought I was playing when I was playing the NES game.
Yeah.
I really thought it was that big. And it was like, yes, Hyrule is huge. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
I've never felt that experience since then. Again, Hyrule Field and Ocarina of Time kind of brought that on, but like that joy and wonderment, like I never really felt again.
The awe, yeah.
The awe. And I feel like with this new Zelda game, it looks like they're kind of trying to recreate some of the experiences you got from that first NES title, because they specifically have a shot of Link on a cliffside looking over at mountains in a valley. And
the sun's like setting in the background.
And it looks gorgeous too.
Yeah.
Again, the colors. Wow. They look phenomenal. And I'm pretty sure someone was like, hey, let's try to recreate this classic image. And it seems... did you watch the demo? Have you seen the whole demo? I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's like, oh, look, this place there might be a dungeon around here somewhere. So now people are like, oh, are dungeons kind of free to go to when you want to go to?
Yeah, it's like open world.
Yeah, would that be kind of interesting? So I think this next Zelda game is going to kind of maybe not change things up, but bring back some old elements to it that haven't been seen in quite a while, which would be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah,
I think Link having a big open world to explore too will be interesting. I actually just read an article, and this is why I'm looking forward to it, because as an adult, which I'm doing quotation marks because you can't see right now, these two guys can. Yeah. I just don't have time to play long periods of video games anymore. And Miyamoto was just doing an interview where he said that they're trying to add a lot to the world where you can play for 15 to 20 minutes and feel accomplished, like you did something in the world to affect that world. So hopefully it won't just be town, dungeon, item gets to new dungeon, item there gets to new dungeon. You did your 3 first dungeons, so now you get something more strong, which changes everything. Oh no, now 5 dungeons. Yeah. Now this. Maybe there'll be a little bit more difference to it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting if they did sort of almost an Assassin's Creed style world, but with Zelda. I think it would kind of work where you have like your town and you can have your side missions, but you also have your main story stuff.
Yeah, I think it's something they needed to have to look into.
Yeah. And that's the thing too with like innovating games. I think the best games that are revolutionary are the ones that recreate experiences but not moments, if that makes any sense. Like a lot of games now just try to be like, oh, we had a level where you did this, so we're going to do beat for beat the same thing but have a different skin on it, where it's more important to have the feeling of that you had, like the exploration or the wonder or that stuff, but it's so much harder to capture that.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. I think that's what a lot of modern games fall into, is just like, shocking moment. Wasn't that so shocking? Like, well, yeah, it was, but I'm kind of over it now.
Yeah.
But like you said, the experience is what people want to, what resonates with people, what people remember is that whole experience, not just those specific little time frames, because you forget those when the next one comes out.
Yeah.
Anyway, like it doesn't mean anything later. Yeah.
So what what's one of the games that Nintendo needs to remake, you think, for the Wii U? What's a Nintendo franchise that hasn't come out with a game recently that you really think will be huge for you, at least personally, if not sell a console?
Well, I think Star Fox is interesting. I think it will appeal to our generation of people more. I think a lot of younger generations don't know Star Fox except from Super Smash Brothers.
Right.
It's been so long since there's been like a true Star Fox game. But as I mentioned this earlier, I think a Metroid game on the Wii U would really be great.
Yeah.
Depending on how they use the controller, and if you can control your body armor and stuff on the gamepad, there would be some really interesting things there. And I think,
that's cool.
Again, the color scheme and HD graphics in a Metroid world, I think that would be an important thing for them to announce sometime soon, just to get people excited even more beyond 2015. I think that would be the big game. And there's some other interesting games I think coming out for it. What's the name? That squid shooter game. Have you seen a trailer for that at all?
I have. I don't know the name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. At first I was like, okay, first-person shooter, you shoot ink, whatever. But by the end of the 5-minute trailer, I was like, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like jumping across the world and swimming in ink and everything like that. I was like, okay, cool. Like that's a new thing from them, and it's nice to see new things from them and to focus on a multiplayer game, possibly with interesting internet capabilities and stuff. So
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see, but I'm curious about that. I think a game like that might actually appeal to both younger and older generations too, because like most Nintendo games, it looks like it's easy to pick up, but difficult to master, kind of.
Right.
If you do, it shows, kind of. Like Smash Brothers, really easy game to pick up. Everyone's got the same moves. Yeah. You know what every character can do, kind of. But
the people that are great at it are so good that you can't even touch them.
Yeah, they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Which also sucks, though, is when you have a group of friends. I just remember playing Smash Brothers on 64. And I just had that one friend who was he could beat anyone in the world with Pikachu.
That'd be so aggravating.
And so, he would win, we'd be like, you can't play as Pikachu. And then it'd be fun and everyone would have a good time. And then, he'd pick it and he's like, there's no need for me to compete.
Yeah, right.
Exactly, the distance between every attack.
Yeah. The frames.
Yeah, the recovery rates. It's impossible to beat you. And I feel like that's always, I guess, my thing to target just Smash Brothers is if you get it and you're fresh and you bring it over and everyone plays it, you're like, oh my god, we're having so much fun. Everyone's picking different characters.
Yeah.
But then you get that one guy who's just like, I'm only good with Link, and I'm only going to play as Link.
Right.
And you're like, now you're being a douche. We're switching characters, and you're just being Link.
Well, the thing about Smash Brothers 2 is, especially when you first pick it up, it's all about not falling off the level more than it is punching guys.
Yeah.
So, if
not killing yourself.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing, you can just sit back and watch people jump around until they fall off. And they're like, no. Oh. But yeah, is there any third-party games that you really wish would come out for the Wii? Because you're like, okay, I know you have an Xbox, but is there any games that you're like, I really wish I could just play this game on the
Wii?
Yeah.
Boy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. Again, I don't know what the full capabilities are yet of the console, so I don't know what would work and what wouldn't work, and it has yet to be really shown or proven to me. So I'm not sure. I have no answer for that at this point, and that's the disappointment. And I think that's something they need to fix, because I can't think of a single game that'd be like, this would be better on the Wii U.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I don't think that they can do direct ports, because even when they tried to release Call of Duty, it's just okay, well, we're gonna come out with the Xbox One and PS4, and then we're gonna wait a month or two, and then we're gonna do a Call of Duty for the Wii U. It's just you've taken, even though I don't like Call of Duty, you've taken away what Call of Duty is to kind of bring it down.
You know what I want on the Wii U? I want a horror game. I want a horror game on the Wii U, because the cool thing the console can do, since it has double cameras, is you can hold the gamepad up all around your world.
That's really cool.
So you can turn around and you can see what's behind you. The front of the screen, the screen is still the front, but you can turn the console and see what's going on behind you too. I want a horror game using that, because that would be terrifying.
That would be cool if it was either your flashlight or if it was an infrared camera.
Yeah, something like that. But that's where I think a third party could really succeed, is making something really scary with that element of having the whole world available to you to look around at, kind of.
That's interesting.
As you're sitting on the couch.
Because didn't the 3DS have a game that is not nearly the same thing, but it has the camera in you can see ghosts and you just have to hold it up at
I remember seeing that trailer years ago. It wasn't the 3D. It was the DS.
Okay. Yeah.
It was for the DS that came out. And I remember trying to look for that game. I don't even know if it ever came out. I think it did come out, but I think the trailer was really cool and everything.
I
don't think because unless the camera can actually understand real world objects and stuff like that,
which is not a 3DS camera for sure.
Or a DS
camera. Not a DS.
Oh, well, certainly, yeah. But I'd seen it as 3DS.
DS didn't have a camera. Maybe it was a 3DS. I can't remember.
But yeah, I mean, going back to this sort of the E3 demos too, it's like we never really trust E3 demos, like because they're not always representative of the game. Like we were talking about, was it it's not Battlefield. It's Rainbow Six, the Siege. Everything in that trailer looks really animated to the point where it's like I don't believe that's a real game.
Yeah.
Because the animation's so good. So it was originally supposed to be Rainbow Six Patriots, right?
What was the one where like there was like a trailer that they're on like a bridge and they have to throw a guy off?
That's exactly that's what it started off as. It was Rainbow Six Patriots, and that was cool too. But that was clearly also that was not even supposed to be in-game footage.
Yeah,
and so now it's basically just multiplayer. I think it's 5v5. You're in a house or wherever. They've only shown the house so far. One team is the kidnappers. You have a hostage. You barricade a house. You can go up. You can set traps. You can do all this stuff.
I've seen the demo.
The other team is the guys coming in. But just everything was so fluid and the animations were so specific to the moments that we were both like, I don't think this is real.
Yeah. Yeah. So, boy, what happened to that first version of the game then?
It was in development for a really long time, and then they just scrapped it, and now this is what it is.
No, those E3 demos are really annoying, too, because I remember from the Battlefield 4 demo, the guy on stage, because they brought up like 32 people to play it on stage.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, looks like, Ashley's going up on the top of the rooftop. Oh, she's going to have to parachute off. I'm like, how do you know all this is happening? Like, it should be madness. Like, clearly they're just pressing nothing. And this is like
you set all this out on a video.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you know all this? So yeah, those E3 demos obviously are, I think, notorious for. And anytime a new game comes out, people are like, E3 footage, in-game footage.
Yeah. Well, like Colonel Marines is like a huge example of that. The Aliens game that came out, which was nowhere even close to any of the demos.
Oh, okay, sorry. That's what I want. Okay, that's what I was really hoping for a Wii U game. I want the tracker on the gamepad.
Oh, that's great. That's a good idea.
Like, how cool would that have been if, and especially because I didn't play Colonel Marines, so I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they had a tracker in the game somewhere where it was on the screen on your gun,
just
maybe
like a radar.
But I want you to have to look down and then look back. Like,
they could do it Alien Isolation.
Yeah, did Alien Isolation come out for the Wii U? I don't think it
so.
did.
But that's what. Yeah, I thought that'd be great to have the. Boop, like right there, and you again having to look away from the screen for an instant, but that could be all it takes to get like attacked or something like that. Like,
well, that's what like you said. I mean, you talked about the Zombie U, and one of the things that everything I've read about Zombie U is like because you can't pause the game and you have to actually pretend like you're looking in a backpack. You can't focus on the screen. Just like that heightens how tense you are. It heightens the fact that like you have to be quick. So you have to have those things, like you said, like where you have aliens where it's just like you have to look down, and maybe it's only for a second or 2 seconds.
But that could be it.
But that could be it. Or Zombie U, where it's like you have to look down, and you're like, I got to get my shotgun out, and you're like scrambling because you know that there's a zombie like closing in on you. And
maybe that'd be interesting if I picked that game up and didn't play it until like right before recording a podcast or something like that. Like, just to get our all fresh experience, like playing that and seeing.
That would be cool. Yeah, we should do little like let's plays where we play a game or something before we go on an episode. That could be fun.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I just want to play more games with you guys.
Aw, we'll cut this out.
I think the question that everybody is dying to hear is why did the Super Mario movie not work?
Oh, why did the Super Mario movie not work? Okay, interesting. The casting choices were fine. I mean, Mario and Luigi casting choices I think were fine. I think they fit the roles really well. But making Koopa not a giant lizard, making it this weird neo-futuristic. Oh god, it's been a while since I
will even say I think Daisy was okay. The princess was okay.
Yeah, but like
the casting wise,
just stick with it. Wasn't the game? It was its own world. It created a whole new world. The Mortal Kombat movie was awesome because it was at a Mortal Kombat tournament and it was in a tournament setting.
It did actually kind of. At least was pretending to be the game.
It was pretending to be the game, yeah. But like Mario, it was just like, well, what's happening? Why does Dennis Hopper look like a human? Kind of has like he had like a little lizard quality at some point or something, but like
it was like he was like an evolution of a lizard or something, right?
But again, the whole neo-futuristic look was like you're a kid and you're like, I just went down pipes and smashed
right.
blocks.
It wasn't all just white walls and like, you know.
Did they ever make a Super
pills.
Mario Brothers the movie the game?
No.
Can that come out soon?
No, that would be pretty good. It's kind of like when they made the Street Fighter the movie the game.
Yeah.
I mean, they made Lego the movie the video game.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's confusing. No, but why did that movie fail? I think just for so many reasons, but mostly just because it followed none of the content other than a base level of the characters.
Do you think a Super Mario Brothers movie could work? Do you think a Mario movie could ever be made that was like, yeah, that's exactly what the game is like?
Only in an animated sense, not a live action sense, because there was. True. I mean, Nintendo, they had that Super Mario Bros. Show in the 90s,
the Saturday morning show.
Yeah, the animated Mario stuff was okay, and like that looked kind of like how Mario should have looked. It would work again in an animated sense, but I don't think it would work now. I don't think anyone would care about seeing the Mario Brothers.
Right, because it is kind of a crazy game.
It's really weird.
It's really weird.
It's really, really weird.
Yeah.
I would see no purpose to making it. I don't think it would do anyone any good.
I agree with that.
Being said, for a lot of video game movies, quite frankly, especially the Nintendo franchise. I remember there was word about like maybe a Metroid movie, and that could work.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you can't really do a Donkey Kong movie.
No,
you can't
just be a guy in a suit.
Yeah,
I mean, I would love like a late '80s, early '90s Star Fox movie with like practical Jim Henson puppets.
Yeah,
but that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. I think Metroid would be the only true Nintendo franchise that could have a potential for working. Yeah. Good action, interesting design for the lead character and stuff like that.
I feel like if they did anyone now, they'd just do Legend of Zelda.
You couldn't do that though.
I'm surprised they haven't tried.
I don't think
it'd work. I don't think it'd work at all. But I'm saying like that way, it's like you can cast a character who will look like Link. You can cast a character who's going to look like Zelda.
But will he talk though?
Ooh.
Link doesn't talk.
Yeah,
he's never said a word except yeah.
Maybe that's all his dialogue.
Yeah, right.
Can you go to the castle?
Yeah. I don't know why we keep talking to you.
Why are we studying this guy? He has no language abilities.
Yeah. He's the only one stupid enough to go on all these quests.
Oh yeah, that's probably it. Just pure brute force and nothing else.
Yeah.
Give me a bigger satchel. That's
yeah. All right, I guess we'll just hit one of the other questions. You've kind of answered it, but the other questions that we answer our guests is why do you play video games in the greater sense? As
a kid, it again just goes back to that image in the Legend of Zelda notebook, the pure adventure. Like, wow, look at this whole world, and that was kind of for most of my childhood. It was just escapism and just trying to get away from everything. Now it is kind of a relaxing thing for me to do. But the video games I really look for now are strong, storied video games, something that I can be engaged by. There are games that I play to relax, like a Mario Kart or Super Smash Bros. Like, whatever, shut my brain off, just rock some people, and that's fine. But the games that get me excited are ones where I finally find a story that intrigues me enough that I can be captivated by, and that I can feel bad about when it's over, because it's like, oh, that was a great experience.
Yeah.
Like, I really like that. And the problem is I don't have much time to play those really heavy story games or anything like that, but I think those are the ones that resonate with me more now than anything else. But it all started off with just the adventure of playing video games and seeing what kind of crazy worlds you could go to, really.
I would say I think that's the evolution of every gamer, is you start off and you're just like, I only care about the gameplay and this world, and then as you get older you're just like, okay, well, all games I can kind of see that they're on the same level. Like Craig always talks about, or when he talks about it, it's just like, yeah, this game's similar to this game. And so now we play it and we're just like, this is another medium for us, where it's just like, let's get a good story, let's get something interesting. Like I can't think of a game that I actually enjoy playing that's completely like storyless. Now it has to have something that keeps me tied into the world.
I feel like that's also sort of the evolution of video games. Like, we came up with the video games. It's like video games back then were all gameplay, no story, and now it's a lot of story. So I don't know if it's just because we grew up and we want that now, or because video games grew up at the same time.
Oh.
Like, I wonder if kids that were born to like today, how do they feel about video games? Like, why do they play video games? I'm sure it's the same thing, just to have fun with their friends and to escape and stuff.
That would be good to get a 10-year-old on the show, actually, to see what he has to say.
Yeah.
Because I would be kind of curious as to why kids play games now. Like, what is it about it that attracts them to it?
Yeah.
Because we know specifically because you kind of grew up with video games, but you also didn't grow up with video games. Like, it was kind of a split. You still had
They were still very new.
Yeah, they were still very new, so not everyone had them.
Yeah.
You didn't have every new great game. Only one of your friends had a new great game or something like that every once in a while. So it would kind of be interesting to get a younger kid's perspective on what it is they play for.
Yeah.
And why they keep coming back.
Get one of Caitlin's cousins or something.
Good. I was just thinking, like, how many 10-year-olds do I know?
Right. Legally, yeah. Just the
legally.
one.
Yeah, right.
I know one.
This could be incriminating. I wouldn't say
too
much right now.
The keyboard in my trunk.
Yeah.
Should I not have said it?
And so what games are you playing now?
What am I playing now? Smash Brothers. I'm playing now. I just beat Dishonored.
Oh yeah.
I bought and played. Well, I didn't buy.
It was
great.
free. Yeah.
You know, God, how much money I've given to Microsoft for gold, and I've never. How many months I haven't used any of their content online?
Right.
It's ridiculous. Dishonored, though, would recommend it for anyone who hasn't played it. Great gameplay, very okay story. I was disappointed by that. I would have said it was an incredible game if the story was better, or actually tried a little bit. But gameplay was some of the best I've played in a while. So yeah, just played Dishonored, playing Smash Bros. Right now, just kind of get things to pass. Yeah, with the holidays coming up, I'll probably pick up a new game or something like that. I want to get Hyrule Warriors, which is the kind of offshoot Zelda game in the Dynasty Warriors franchise. I played the demo of that, and it was actually pretty fun and interesting, and just another interesting perspective to get an outside perspective in the Zelda universe. And kind of see how the characters interact. And I gotta say, another game I'm probably going to buy at some point soon because I've been wanting to buy it. I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed fan at all. I got Assassin's Creed 2 when it came out for gold.
Which I thought was... Had you played it?
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2 is great. I think everybody kind of agrees that's a good one.
Didn't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The gameplay, I kind of thought the combat was boring.
Well, right. You're also playing it now, and it's like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old
it
game.
might have been different then, but I kind of lost touch with it. The world was pretty great, though. I did enjoy the world.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm a huge pirate history nerd. Like a complete, I know way more about pirates. I could do a whole podcast about pirates if we wanted to. I know way more than anyone should because I started taking classes in college about pirate history. So I want to buy Black Flag because I've heard that was pretty good. It was a good game.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if you were thinking about getting the newest Assassin's Creed, you probably didn't hear any of the news about it. So yeah, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, I think, is probably the one.
And I want to buy that more for the pirate experience because I heard that was pretty cool, and I was like, there are no pirate games. I mean, there are a couple pirate games out there, but there's nothing seems intriguing. No one ever talks about it. And it's so easy. They're pirates. Yeah. They have ships and they kill people. Yeah. Video game. Done. They find treasure. I don't know how some executive hasn't been like, wait, this all adds up. So I do want to get that. I know I'm behind on it, but yeah, mostly Smash Brothers right now is kind of what I'm playing, but no real story to that or anything like that. Just good old mindless fun.
Yeah. Kind of. That's a good question, though, since Christmas is just days away.
Yeah.
What's on your Christmas list? You kind of already answered, Phil. Do you have any games on your Christmas list?
I don't. I actually left my games off my Christmas. I just told people...
I don't mean literally, but what games do you want right now?
Well, because I only play games that are 10 years old.
Yeah, that's why. If you were to add some new games,
if I was to add some new games, I would say Watch Dogs. I still want to play.
Really?
Yeah.
Even after all the horrible things that have been said about it.
Game.
Yeah,
I know. I heard.
So has everyone.
I guess I have to play it to be proven wrong.
Okay.
I know it's not going to be great, and I've accepted that, but I'd like to get that. I've actually backpedaled on Shadows of Mordor for the 360 because I've heard that the 360 version
is not good.
Is so atrocious.
Okay.
That it's not worth playing. It's just get it for a new system or don't get it. It's essentially everything I've read about it. So then I don't know. I have a bunch of PC games on my list that are all just because I haven't had a PC in a while. These are all games that aren't new to anyone else. But I'm just oh, Civilization. What's this? What's this I've heard of?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Sims 4.
Yeah, Sims 4. Well, that's a Caitlin game.
I know.
But yeah. All right.
What about you?
I would say Sunset Overdrive would be at the top of my list.
Oh, sure.
because it's one of those games that I want to play. It looks fun, but I haven't gotten yet. Then also Fantasia, Music Evolved, because it's one of those games where I don't want to buy it myself. So I'd like somebody to gift it to me. But also it's a perfect game for the Christmas time for being around, because my sisters like to play those games. Like we play the Dance Central games together, so that's a game that we can play like as a family, like on Christmas.
That's
I think it's a good like Christmas game.
That's so adorable.
Does your dad and mom like sit and watch and like?
Yeah, they sip hot cocoa, and we're in matching pajamas.
Yeah, that's how I picture it.
Yeah. And then my other game would be either Shadows of Mordor. That's probably what it would be, or NHL 15. Just because we played the demo for the 24-hour game marathon, and that was a lot of fun. It didn't help that we scored 2 goals in like the last minute of a game we were losing, and that was super exciting.
Yeah.
But I haven't. I used to play the NHL games pretty extensively, and I haven't played in like 3 or 4 years.
Those were good on Sega.
Those were great on Sega.
Yeah, I'll give Sega props for that. I actually need to buy those for Sega. I don't have those yet for Sega.
Yeah.
Those were really good.
I tweeted out a link a couple weeks ago of they did SportsCenter highlights, hockey highlights, looking like NHL '94.
That's awesome.
It's so awesome. We'll watch it after this. It's pretty great.
Oh my god.
Yeah, check it out on Twitter. I tweeted it. So.
Okay.
Wink, audience.
Audience doesn't care.
I know they don't care. We know they don't care, especially about Twitter. I don't know. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Oh, so Phil had mentioned actually in the last podcast that Nintendo just came out by saying that they are in development of their next console already, which we said makes sense because everybody's always developing the next thing, but it was weird that they announced it.
I didn't read that actually. I mean, again, like you said, I think once a console comes out, they're already in development of the next one. I think it would behoove them to wait a little bit. I'm sure they're a little bit worried about the Wii U.
Yeah.
I don't think they should jump the gun at all. I think they should wait because I do feel like they have some of the better innovators in the gaming world that can come up with another big new thing.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect to see any more about that for a couple of years, hopefully.
No, it's like news that's not news.
Right.
It's like I believe it was Miyamoto, and he essentially said like, yeah, we have people working on ideas for a new console, and he's like, but we're still very dedicated to the Wii U. But it's just like they still like obviously they're gonna print it and like Nintendo working on new console and
next year question mark.
Yeah. This Christmas
it comes out in a week.
We were just saying, we both said like it kind of doesn't serve a purpose because one, we already knew that was happening, but by announcing it, if you already have a Wii U, you're like, well, I feel like they're not trying to make this work. And then if you don't have a Wii U, you're like, I'm just gonna wait for the next one.
Yeah, right. What's the point? I feel like I think it's gonna be forgotten within a couple months.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like it'll be gone. It'll just be gone.
I don't think it'll really have a lasting stay unless they keep interviewing him and he keeps coming out with like, we're so much closer. Then it'll just be like, okay, shut up.
I doubt that.
Yeah.
That would just anger a lot of people, especially me.
Yeah. To switch gears a little bit, I guess. I don't know if you listened to all of the Craig episode, but we talked about GTA for a while.
Oh yeah. You did.
Yeah, because both of us, we're not really the biggest fan of GTA 4.
Yes.
But then you got 5, and you told me that basically all the things that we thought were wrong with 4, they kind of fixed for 5. Do you think that's true now?
I to tell your audience, I did not like 4. It was boring. It was just, the world was boring. The missions were boring. The characters, I just was so annoyed with. Was it Nico?
Yeah, Nico.
Yeah, like at first it was kind of interesting, but like my biggest issue is like every cutscene, he's like, I don't want to kill people or do anything, and then you kill like 50 people. And then the mission is kill
1,000 people,
and then he's like totally okay with it after that.
Yeah.
4, it was just to come from playing 3, and then to go to 4, I was just like, it was just boring, and then I've never been that hardcore GTA player by any means, but I'm a gamer, so you're always intrigued. And 5, I think, blew away my expectations of what it could have done, and was really impressed by it. And Craig is borrowing my copy of it right now. Craig, and I kind of wanted it back after thinking about it again.
Yeah.
Now it's released on Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
some new features and stuff.
Person mode.
Right.
Like, that's kind of cool. But I remember I played GTA 4. Boring, didn't like it, and then I bought Saints Row 3. I think
third?
I want to say.
Yeah.
I think because I wanted more fun in kind of that open world shoot 'em up kind of world, and that was fun, but it also lacked a lot of structure and like environment.
Yeah, I heard the third one's pretty crazy.
But then like GTA 4 or 5 was just like, there we go. Like I can still fly a jet around and sneak into bases and steal some ridiculous tank and go on a rampage.
Yeah.
But there's also a decent story. I think Rockstar does a bad job of telling stories still.
I kind of agree with that, and that's why it kills me that they always get perfect scores and like best story in video games. This is a proof that video games are art. It's like, no, it's not.
No, I think to go off of that, I hate GTA cutscenes. I think they're awful. Most of the time, and again, I'm sorry, audience, because you can't see this, it's a lot of characters standing and staring at each other with their arms up.
Yeah.
Kind of going, what do you want to do? And then he goes, I don't know. And they look around and they do nothing. Like, there's so much nothing. There's so much, like, dead air, if you will, in the GTA cutscenes that really annoy me. So I don't think Rockstar is good at telling a story. Red Dead Redemption was the best story they've told. I don't think it was perfect by any means. But I feel like it was whoever the writers were for that one.
It's the most complete story.
It was the most complete story. But again, I feel like GTA 5 was a slightly dissatisfying ending.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting much from the ending, to be quite honest. I knew going into it was a Rockstar game, so I wasn't expecting an overwhelming story. But I would like to see them just still get a little bit better at it.
Right.
But I will GTA 5 exceeding my expectations, especially with a 3-character rotation.
Yeah, and that you thought that worked okay?
I thought it worked beautifully. Okay. And I feel like more games are going to be doing that in the future. I loved how it worked. I loved how fluid it was and how natural it felt in a video game. I thought it felt like, why haven't I been playing as multiple characters in video games for years now? Like, this just makes sense. I really thought that was special. And you said you haven't played it.
I have not. Yeah. I'm still working through 4.
Yeah, but you liked 4.
Huh?
You liked 4 though. I know you didn't love it, but you liked it enough to play hundreds of hours.
Yeah, because I'm addicted to it for a That has nothing to do with liking it. I'm on the podcast.
So as people that didn't like 4, would you recommend it to us?
Oh God, yeah, yeah. And people who did like 4, well, actually, I talked to a couple people that like 4 better than 5. Which is interesting because I didn't think anyone would
if they're different, then that makes sense.
Yeah. But I really, again, I've never been a huge GTA fan, but 5 I think was the best one I've ever played and was just very satisfying. And Craig, I would like that back now actually because we're talking about. And actually, eventually I will buy Xbox One or PS4, and that debate can happen on another episode because I don't know which one to buy, and that would be a game I would rebuy for a newer console.
Yeah.
Because the first person is intriguing enough where I was like, ooh, that looks like fun.
Yeah, and they finally now have like online heist and stuff.
I played online for like 2 hours and I stopped.
And it was like awful?
I just didn't get it. I'm gonna go back and pick it up again because I feel like I should experience it a little bit more. But like it seemed like a lot of people online. Let me put it this way: not a lot of people were talking about how great it was online. There was no talk. I know. Yeah. When there's no talk, I feel like it means like people lost interest in it already.
Yeah, I think if you're not just doing random activities with your friends online, there's no reason to actually do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not just gonna like pair up with a stranger and do a mission because that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, 5 really good job except for the story, but that's fine.
Yeah.
For now. Not for 6 though.
What do you? So that's another thing that I mentioned in 6. I don't know, just bring up stuff we've already talked about. But I was thinking that maybe they should have a female character in 6 because it would either make it better and innovative and different, and they would write female characters properly, or if they don't, it shines a light on it so much so that they would have to then change for the next one.
I think they absolutely should have a female character. I can't believe they did it for 5.
Right. Now, because when you have 3 characters, you think at least one of them should be a woman.
One of them should be, and one of them totally could have been a woman. If the Trevor character was a woman, that would be amazing.
Yeah, but I can see why they wouldn't.
Well, I can see why they did it, but there's no reason that they should not have a woman lead be a character in that. I mean, we could go into a whole podcast about sexism, and which is such a touchy subject in video games right now because of all the things that are going on. But I do think video games are pretty sexist towards women at times, as much as people would like to say they're not.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at all these 5 characters we just mentioned. It's like, okay, well, that's great. That's 5 characters. Look
and,
at
they have one shirt between the 5 of them.
Yeah, right.
Especially the Japanese games and stuff.
Yeah. I would be excited to see a female lead in a GTA game just to see what a well-written story would be, like to see who she would be, especially if it was like a mother character or something like that.
Yeah.
Something that has other... Because, like, well, I thought... what was this, Michael?
Michael, yeah.
Yeah, a dad with 2 kids. I was like, that's so interesting. A mom with 2 kids, like, that seems even more interesting to see this kind of trope that hasn't been done before.
Yeah, I mean, even if she was just a female gangster, quote unquote, like, we haven't even seen that in a GTA, which is weird.
Yeah, there's been very few interesting female characters, I think, in the GTA games, which is too bad because they would add a great element.
Yeah, so you hate women and you wish they were all strippers that you could beat up, is what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. You can tweet me on that.
Yeah.
No, they're lacking there.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Anything else, guys? I mean, got any questions, Phil?
We covered our main 3 and we talked about Nintendo, so I'm happy.
You guys just want to go play some video games?
I can do that for a little bit. I'm pleased with this.
Do you want to... I'll show you it there. It's not... I don't have a great setup right now, but yeah, I can just show you some of my older games that I have around the house.
Oh, yeah, I would absolutely want to see them because I'm curious about what you have and, what I want, what I'll just pocket when you're not looking.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being a good guest. Do you have anything you want to promote or plug?
Check out youtube.com/thegoodstuff. Big things are happening for us, so check that out, and hopefully I'll be back on again as the one person who has a Wii U.
Yeah, no, you're always welcome as any sort of guest. You don't have to just talk about Nintendo.
We gotta have you back at least to talk about the old games you've never played before, playing for the first time.
That would be very interesting.
Really interested in just you, just like, hey, I dusted off my Super Nintendo. I played Donkey Kong Country for the first time.
It seems kind of dated.
Yeah. Graphics,
I've seen better.
The music's a little one-notey.
No, that would be interesting. I would do that.
Yeah.
But thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, of course. I guess should we promote our stuff? We might as well.
Yeah, sure.
All right, we got Twitter @NotFunPodcast. We have a website. This is funnymorepodcast.com, and also Facebook and iTunes exist.
Yeah, MySpace also exists.
MySpace also exists. We're not on MySpace, though. We're on the other 2.
Well, then how are people going to know where you're at if you're not on MySpace?
That's true.
Get with it now.
Well, our top 8 is all just Tom.
It's 8 Toms.
8 Toms. It's not the same guy. It's just we just friend people named Tom.
Why not?
Yeah.
Tom's a great name.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have a fun sign off? We usually do crazy sign off sometimes.
I didn't know I had to come up with a sign off.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Here, enjoy this fart noise.